So would you say that building a business is the quickest path to wealth?
I think, I kind of had enough. Like, I'm just so tired.
You need a lot of money to start a business, yes or no? Okay, tell me a little bit. Like, you built PMC.
Yeah.
Now that it won't kill itself.
Yeah.
Why go and open another one and start over again? And I'm sure all of you know the brand Pestle Mortar.
You know what they say is true? It's lonely at the top.
Look at the Google reviews, guys.
Yeah, but my background has never been fashion.
Welcome back to Boss Up, where we cover the real story behind entrepreneurship. And today we have a very special guest. Let's welcome Hugh.
Thanks so much, Adele. Thanks so much for having me.
And I'm sure all of you know the brand Pestle Mortar. So you're the Chief Vision Officer. You also run Atlas Collectif.
I do.
I really like the name Chief Vision Officer. Yeah, so just tell us a bit about you first before the brand.
Sure. Thanks. Yeah, I think first up, thanks so much for having me, Adele. It really, I think I love doing sessions like this because I'm able to kind of walk down memory lane. And obviously I've been doing it for quite a long time, for the brand itself, 15 years. But, my background has never been fashion. I'm actually an architecture graduate. So I did architecture. But I think it still plays a big role when it comes to the discipline aspect, when it comes to creativity. A lot of the foundation of my thinking, my creative concepts, and the initial early days of Pestle and Mortar, a lot of it came from that. So we started the brand in 2010, and it's been 15 years. And I started off obviously more on the creative side of things, but right now, in terms of my job, you're right, looking mostly at the direction of the company, taking care of people. I think that's also one of the biggest challenges. And doing a lot of partnership stuff as well.
Yeah, I actually didn't know you came from architecture background.
Yeah.
And I think I admire that a lot because I came from like mass communication background, and I thought running business is all about communication and all. And I realized that the big part about running a business is actually the way you frame your thoughts, because thoughts form action, action form results, result forms habit, and habit eventually become your life.
Yeah, I think there's so many components, right?
Right. That's why I feel like every time when I hear someone studied something that it's not like, because for example, like Hugh, you studied architecture and you're doing like fashion brand.
Yeah.
Everybody look at like, wow, fashion brand, wow, must be very cool, design all the streetwear shit.
We didn't know anything about fashion, to be honest, when we started.
Yeah. So tell me, let's go way back, okay? Like tell me, how did that idea came about? And you also mentioned to me earlier you had like a few partners. So tell us a little about that, because I'm sure a lot of our listeners here probably are at that juncture of like, I want to start a business. I want to start a business. Who should I find? Can I do it myself? Do I find my friend, my neighbor, my siblings? Tell us a bit about that journey.
Yeah, I think first up, a big part is obviously the upbringing. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. Dad's run his own business. Even at that point in time, my older brother, who I'm actually really close to, he was also starting out his own thing. And I think from a very young age, Dad has always cultivated that into us in terms of showing us what he was doing, taking us to, meet different people.
Really?
So that was, sort of like in our blood lah, right? And I think sort of like fast forward into high school, obviously, we were really immersed in terms of the culture, like things like skateboarding, art, music. These were all things that we really, really enjoyed as our hobbies. And there was one particular, celebrity, or I guess a KOL back then, that we really looked up to, Travis Barker from Blink-182. So he had his own fashion line. It's called Famous Stars and Straps. And we were like, damn man, his stuff is really cool. Maybe we should start a fashion label. And this is when we were 16. And we knew nothing about it. Our websites were built on HTML, and we did that. But nothing really materialized because we didn't have the money, we didn't have the know-how, so we left it as is. And it's really sort of like fast forward 2010, when we finished university, we came back. I was at the Mamak talking to one of my partners, Arnold, and I said, hey dude, why don't we revisit this idea of starting this brand? Because I think all of us, we also know that we like fashion, we're consumers at heart, and there was never really a brand out there that spoke about or represented who we are. A lot of the brands that we were buying back then was like American, European brands. But, it was, we could relate to it to a certain extent, but we were like, we want to be able to tell our story. And we kind of said, hey, maybe we should start this thing, Pestle Mortar Clothing. And here we are.
Yeah, thank
Just
you.
started, yeah.
Yes, I mean, I have heard of this brand like PMC for the longest time. It really, for me, I'm not exaggerating. I feel like it's really like a Malaysia, like a brand, a representative. And I think you also work with a lot of global brands, partnership, like really.
Yeah, very blessed in that sense to have those opportunities.
So let's just, fast forward to like current, right? So it's been 15 years.
Yeah.
Tell us something that you already know now that you're running for 15 years, because I'm sure a lot of people have this misconception. People think that I want to be rich. I want to have financial and time freedom. That's why I want to start my business. Because a lot of people think that, starting business is the fastest, quickest path to wealth.
Yeah.
Knowing what you know now,
connecting
back to when you first started, what would you say about this?
Yeah, I mean, in our case, I can speak for myself, right? Obviously, we hear so many success stories of people who've started things and, turning over $100 million, selling the company for X amount. Obviously, there are all those stories. But for us, it's not the case. It's been a long journey. And I think in terms of the wealth, I mean, from a monetary standpoint, am I comfortable? Yes, I'm comfortable. We're able to really sort of live that lifestyle that we live and that we want to live. The monetary standpoint, that's taken care of. But I think what I really love about this particular journey is the wealth is a different type of wealth. And that wealth is network, the wealth is experiences. And that's exactly it. Like every year when we reflect back, and we look back like shit, we have worked with all these brands, we've traveled to all these countries, we've met all these different people, and that is something that is really, it truly makes me happy. So it kind of depends.
Yeah. So would you say that building a business is the quickest path to wealth?
In my case, I say no. I'll say no. I mean, I think there are many other businesses that you can probably do out there, be it trading, be it whatnot.
Not building.
But whether you get the fulfillment that what I feel, that I think, to each their own, right?
Yes.
But I think for me, that's not what I want.
Yeah. I completely agree on that, because I feel like a lot of times we hear like, build a business is the quickest path. You make money. Exactly like what you say, right? People build a business. 3 years, they sell it, 10x,
Sure.
They get evaluated, their PE,
of course.
I actually also don't agree, because I feel that building business is way harder than making money. Like you hear me right. Like it's different. If you want to make money, there are a lot of things that get you quick bucks. You can do sales, you can, commissions and stuff like that. But building a business is really, like what you mentioned at the beginning, is a lot of moving parts. And I think to everybody that's listening to this today, like, I want to tell you no. That's not my stand. Maybe some people think so, but for me, I don't think so. Unless you're talking about purely finding something like what you mentioned about like fulfillment. So tell me a little bit about that. Like at what point you realized that, wow, this one really give me a lot of fulfillment?
I think a lot of times what kind of brings me back to that is when I have conversations, with my wife. All of us as entrepreneurs, we have stressful days, right? The journey is ups, it's constant ups and downs. And it's during those downtimes, right? When you come back and you just go like, crap, I think, I kind of had enough. Like, I'm just so tired. I don't know if I can still continue. But a lot of times is, when we kind of look back at that journey and for me as well, it's something that I've developed like over the last couple of years is really, it's how I start my mornings, how I live my life. So I got a lot of things that I do, which kind of brings me, in that sort of mindset. So I do journaling, I do a lot of meditation. I do a lot of
Tell us a bit about. Okay, I'm just gonna cut you right there.
Yeah.
Just give it to us. Like, what do you do?
So I wake up really early. I think a lot of that discipline comes from my sport. I do a lot of sport as well. So I wake up early, 5:30 or so, cold shower, go down, 10 minutes guided meditation, talking about gratitude. And I think that's a big part, to be able to kind of start the day, to be able to go like shit. Yes, we have all these different challenges, but there's all these other things to be grateful for. So I think just from a mindset perspective, that sort of like, keeps me grounded and reminds me. And then the other part is the journaling. And I also belong to this other group called EO. It's Entrepreneurship Organization. So a big part of that as well is we do a lot of like 5% reflection, like on personal, business, and family. So I think I've got quite a lot of that to kind of remind me.
I cannot agree more. I'm just stoning a little bit. You can see my face because I can't believe we do the same thing. Like I don't wake up at 5:30, but I wake up at 7. I'm a mom of 2. So I pray, like I pray and I meditate. And then I do ice bath. So it's also cold shower. But of course now my ice bath is like Rosa Adila. Okay? Yeah. So and I'm also in an organization. I also did Life Will. Like, you have 10 areas and your spiritual, your business, your health and all. So I think people need to hear this. We look at anyone and we think that you had it easy, Hugh. You travel the world. You go such nice place on your feet. Of course, your stuff do everything, ma. Like frankly. So what would you tell someone that is probably finding their way in terms of building their own habits, especially to start with morning routines?
Sure.
Because obviously for you or for me, we have kind of found a little bit of momentum, right?
Exactly.
But what if like someone that is just they're still working, they're finding their way, or they're still at the hustle and grinding. I mean, I'm sure we have had those moments where you sleep at 3 a.m.
Of course,
sleep at 3, how to wake up at 5, right?
Of course,
so what would you tell? What would you tell these people?
Yeah, I think balance is super important, and that's something that I've kind of realized because maybe when we first started, it was pretty much go, go, go. But it catches up on you, right? It catches up on you.
Age too.
Yeah, I just turned 40, so I'm kind of the way that I look at it is like shit, like halfway through my life. To be able to make the right decisions, to be able to be in the right mindset, you need that balance, and it can't just be that. And it's interesting for me because for Pestle and Mortar at this current stage, we've got the team, we've got the structure, and that somewhat runs on its own. Obviously I'm still involved, but generally, I mean, the company won't kill itself without me. Okay? So we've got a team there. But when it comes to Atlas, that's actually a very new company that we just started about a year and a half ago. And it's only me, my partner, and we've got another full-timer, and we work off a lot of freelancers. So that particular business still requires a lot of...
Okay, tell me a little bit. Like, you built PMC.
Yeah.
Now that it won't kill itself.
Yeah.
Why go and open another one and start over again?
Yeah, so...
some people might think that, why, like, just scale and...
I just want to be able to do things that I'm interested in. And I think in this phase of my life, obviously I love, PMC and what it stands for, that lifestyle aspect of it, and really excited in terms of that next chapter. But for Atlas, it brings a different dimension. For Atlas, it's sports, which is something which I'm extremely passionate about right now.
Running gears.
Yeah, running gear, being able to connect with, my heroes who are the runners that I look up to, being able to travel, to run in different places. So a lot of times it's about intertwining,
what you like.
Yeah, what you like with business, right?
Yeah.
And that's always the dream. It's not the easiest, but I'm a firm believer of that because I think it just flows a lot easier. There are people who go out there and they want to earn money. You can go and do a business that you hate, and that's it. But for me, it's all about going back to fulfillment, going back to really believing in it. And I think a lot of what we build, we want longevity, and to have longevity, you need
to have fulfillment.
Yeah, to love it.
You better like what you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, speaking of, since you're building a new baby, like less than 2-3 years versus a business that's 15 years.
Sure.
Just a very quick question. Some people say great products don't need to have marketing. What's your take on that? I run a marketing agency, so I want to hear from you running 15 years and building a new baby at the same time right now with today's day and era with AI, social media. What's your take on that?
I think if you're looking at making a quick buck, then I totally agree. I mean, marketing plays a big role, but if you're looking at longevity, you need a mix of both. Because longevity, a lot of it is your community. It's about it's about that retargeting. It's about building. It's constantly building off that community, right? And adding on, building that bigger network. So I'm a total believer that it can be a crap product, but if you have great marketing, it can work. But for how long? That is the question.
Yep.
For us, I think a lot of times you need that mix. That's the way that we've been approaching our things, where we want to be able to build great product. We want to be able to build, have all facades sort of handled, right?
Okay, now we'll just change a little bit of like a little game segment.
Sure.
So the team created this called the hot take or hard fact.
Okay.
I just want you to pick on your brain real quickly. I'm
Hot
going to ask
take,
you
hard
five.
fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hot take, hard fact. Just a name. So I'm
Okay.
just going to say a few statements. I have 5 here.
So how? Okay, what do each of it like? Hot take means
No, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's just
Oh.
it's basically I'm going to tell you a statement.
Okay.
You just have to tell me, do you agree?
Okay.
Or you don't agree.
Okay,
and then
disagree,
you
yeah.
tell me what your take is.
I see.
So for example,
okay.
I'm going to give you number 1, right? So
Okay.
say you need a lot of money to start a business. Yes or no? And why?
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay, I got
Okay?
you.
Okay, so let's start. The first one. I'll give you 5, okay?
Okay, sure.
Number 1, you need a lot of money to start a business.
I'll say yes, you need money. A lot of money, maybe not the case. And again, that comes from experience. When we first started, PMC, to get it off the ground, it was only like 30,000 ringgit. But to bring us to that next stage, yeah, we needed to raise more money. So I think just that proof of concept to get something going, I think anyone can. The barrier to entry is nothing crazy, and you don't have to go and raise hundreds or millions of dollars. You can start something.
Okay. Founders should do every job in their early days. Yes or no?
I think founders need to pay their dues. I think we need to get down and dirty. I believe in that. And I do that for many years with my team. I don't have the energy anymore. And these days I tell myself, like, my time is better spent on other things. So, I'm not going to be doing these things, and I'm very intentional with my time. But back then, yes, I want to be able to, when you're a small company, get down and dirty, understand the business, you get to see it for yourself.
There is no shortcut when you're starting out.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. Third one, entrepreneurs are born, not made.
I disagree. Yeah, of course I disagree.
Yeah, why?
Why? I think it helps. Definitely you will have a advantage, like I mentioned in my case.
Studying,
the support,
yes,
right? The support
and the
that
family,
you get.
yes.
Because I think for a lot of people, sometimes they want to start something, but they are scared, or there are people who tell them, no, you shouldn't. In my case, when I told my dad, I still remember that I wanted to quit architecture and go into this full time, he said, okay. He said, okay, if you think that it can sustain your lifestyle, go ahead. And I was like, okay, let's do it, right?
I'm sure you have a
my-
crazy lifestyle.
And I had my brother as well, who was very supportive of that journey. I think that helps, right? Like, gives you the confidence. Because if people are telling you like, oh no, you're gonna fail, oh no, you don't think you should, like, I think that all acts as a barrier, or potential barrier. So yeah.
The fourth one, a detailed business plan guarantees success.
No, I disagree, because in business, it's always evolving. Time, landscape, people, even for us at PMC, what brought us to 15 is not going to bring us to the next 15. And that's what we're working on. It's that next chapter. For us, it's very people-led, and a lot of it reflects about who we are as people. And we want that to be a reflection of ourselves.
I just want to chime into that.
Yeah.
When I started 7 Vault, I say this usually in my different interviews, I've never done a single PowerPoint slides. Never. So people always tell me that, now with younger generations, I want to come up with a plan and plan and plan. I always say, it doesn't mean that I don't have a plan. Of course, when I started, I need a plan, right? When you
course.
scale from 0 to 10, right? You need that. But I don't believe that you need to have a detailed plan to start, because the truth is you will never get the perfect plan.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times getting that perfect plan, it's just going to hold you back, right?
Yes,
You
because
learn
when
along the
you
way.
analyze,
Yeah.
you paralyze.
Paralyzed. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, the last one, this is very interesting. I want to hear from you because you're in the retail business.
Okay.
Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
The customer is always right.
Oh, that's a tough one, right? I look at...
Yes or no?
Oh, okay. No. I would say no. But it's tough. It's tough. I look at Malaysia, man. I tell you, especially this whole cancel culture right now.
Look at the Google reviews, guys.
Yeah, I mean, they can really... And that can kill your business, even, if you disagree.
Yes.
So...
I want to hear
and I
from
don't
you
believe in
because
that.
15 years, like, Like, tell us one maybe core memory about customer.
Core memory.
Good or bad,
I
yeah.
think when during the earlier days, I mean, at the moment now, I actually have my email is linked to a lot of the reviews that people send. So I still see that, and the team, I get them to filter it out as well to, for some of the more negative stuff. And I kind of, I want to be able to kind of look at that. And we have, like, during our Monday meetings as well, like a particular segment within that meeting where they highlight these reviews, right? And I still remember, like, going back, I always tend to, and I still do it from time to time, where I, reply the customer itself if they are not happy with a certain something, and I give them my take. And I think a lot of times people are also keyboard warriors, but when you pick up the phone and call them and say, "Hey, I'm Hugh, and I saw what you wrote, and I just want to be able to explain to you so and so and so," they're completely different people.
Yeah.
And that changes that mindset, right?
Yeah.
So we have been in situations where we've had people, who said, like, our products are crap and blah, blah, a lot of negative stuff. But yeah, when I spoke to them, I was like, "Hey, I'm so sorry that you experienced that. I'm going to send you some new stuff." And next moment, this guy was like our biggest ambassador, like, for the next couple of weeks or months.
Yeah, this is what you call turning crisis into opportunity.
Yeah. So we definitely try to do that. And like I said, I mean, it's not a hard and fast rule. I think you also have to kind of look at, really have to kind of look at the scenario.
I think gone are the days where we say customer is always right. Like, my take is also the answer is no, because today's era is very, very different back then. And you have to take into consideration of the internet.
Of course.
And the keyboard warriors and the Google reviews. I mean, I'm sure if you're an entrepreneur, you would totally understand this. Sometimes it's always just one side.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
What about the other side?
Yeah.
Right. And I my stand is this, and you can agree to disagree, is that really, really gone are the days where just because you're paying me something and you're the king. No. We're living in this era where I don't need your sale because we don't lack sales purchases, right? At the end of the day, the way I look at it is you like something, you like the value we created, and you're going to pay me for that. Like, to me, it is a huge part of that. And I mean, it goes beyond that. And I really want to ask you, because retail business, my husband runs a retail business, and exactly what you said, his email is linked to the Google review. And there are days that we wake up on a Sunday and he's just sad. Like, I say this, I don't know if he allows me to say this, but but when I wake up, right, Sunday, we're very happy, I want to go to church, my kids. He'll just look at the phone and I'm like, if only someone put a DJI, I mean, don't want to say brand here, camera, you would see, my husband the day is just ruined.
Regular in that sense,
And then I'm like looking at my husband, I'm like, "Hello, we're going out, going to church, let's have a meal." And I mean, yes, he's still lying on me and all.
Of course,
but he's just like, "I got to deal with this."
Yeah.
If you really take a step back, actually, why? So I want to hear from you, because I am sure, not just why. I feel like, how did you go through that? Because I'm sure the process of, sad lah, angry lah, solving problems lah. And I think obviously at this point, running the business for 15 years, I am sure you have accepted, and you even have an SOP, I'm sure, to have that some stuff to talk on Mondays. I'm sure you have been through that process. But tell us a bit about how that journey looks like for you as a boss perspective lah.
Yeah, for sure. I think, what they say is true. It's lonely at the top. And I think a lot of times for myself, I'm able to overcome it, or at least, be able to, a lot of times, get myself out of the rut is by having a support system. Be it, my family, the wife, my good friends, my brother as well, he's an entrepreneur. So I'm always, picking his brain, like saying like, shit, this is the kind of things that we're kind of facing, some challenges right now. What do you think? And I think just having that different perspectives in front of you, it really gives you that comfort. Obviously, a lot of times you as a boss have to take that leap, have to make those difficult calls. But it helps knowing that you got people behind your back.
Yeah.
So
where do we find these people? I mean, this is not in the script, but like, I'm sure people will be like, where do I go?
Yeah,
It's
you know-
not like school and yeah.
So I think
And I don't have that family like yours, right?
yeah, it's. I mean, these kind of things. I think it's cultivated. I think throughout a lot of people that I speak to, I've met them along my business journey, and like any relationship, if you want to
Cultivate,
if you want to have that relationship
to
with someone,
pursue.
you have to work on it, right? So, and what that looks like is, hey, calling someone and saying, "Hey, let's go for dinner, let's go." Even it's not only time in crisis, but
Yeah.
also in good times, right? So I have a list of people that I know, like, okay, this is my group, my circle that I will always keep close, and from time to time I'll just randomly text, even if I don't need the help. But in times of need, I know I can always count on them.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about like your personal journey of entrepreneurship. And we
Sure.
talk a lot about, PMC and your
Yeah.
take on it.
Yeah.
I think, you mentioned a few keywords like support system, discipline, fulfillment. I hear that. So was that journey easy for you to get here? It's been 15 years at least.
Yeah.
Were there like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and how does that look like?
Okay.
Because I'm sure the first
It really
5 years, yeah.
Yeah, it really feels like a blur. Even looking back like 15 years, like wow, actually that's a long time. It's something that we're really proud, and I don't think we give ourselves enough credit a lot of times. So, and that's something that I'm trying to do a lot more, to be able to step back and savor these moments and to kind of look back. So even for our 15-year anniversary, I was telling the guys like, hey, I want to do a coffee table book, because I want to be able to put it into something physical that I can give to people that have supported us in this journey, and go like, thank you for being a part of this journey. Yeah, because time is just flying by super quick right now. And definitely, throughout the 15 years, there have been many sort of like moments in time when I've kind of looked at it and gone like, oh wow, I'm still doing this. Really? Should I still be doing this? Or what is the plan? Where I've questioned myself. But I think end of the day, like looking back at it, the fulfillment part, in terms of that network, I still know that I can still bring a lot of value. I still feel that PMC, the brand itself, or whatever services that we're offering, I still have a lot to offer. I still see that the end of the line is still very far away.
Yeah.
That I want to build more. So that's always been like, I guess, my flame, or my, that sort of like inner flame in me, right?
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm not done.
Yeah.
I want to do so many other things. And I think a lot of times those sort of moments is what acts as motivators for myself. So give you an example, I was recently in Dubai like last week for some work. I was there only for like 70 hours. 70 hours, we met like 3 people. And just by listening to them, just by the potential partnerships on the table and the potential things that we could be doing, that was like, wow, that gave me a big morale boost to be like, okay, guys, let's do it. Let's gather around like, oh my goodness, we've got to do this. So it's that excitement, and you need those type of moments. And I think a lot of it comes from people around you.
Yeah.
So surrounding yourself with people who
Yes.
are all in the same mindset, who are all building, who are all want to create amazing things, and it rubs off on you.
It's so important. Like I have 2 follow-up questions from that. I mean, the first one is the people. The second one is your time. So I'll
Sure.
just go on the first one first. I am a firm believer of you're who you mix with. There's no
Therefore, yeah.
shortcut to it. Mix with 5 people that are fit, you'll be the 6th.
Yeah.
Mix with 5 druggies, you'll be the 6th.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's a given fact. It just takes time to realize that.
Sure.
How do you know they were the 5 for you?
You never know. I think the 5 never stays the 5. I think there are chapters in our lives. I think similar to the team as well. We've got people who have, played pivotal roles in bringing the company to where it is. And I'm like, thank you very much, and I feel that everyone has their own life to live.
Yeah.
So, the initial years, I'm always like, oh, loyalty is everything. Like, it needs to be this, it needs to be that. But I kind of realized actually that in life, our paths will cross, and then we would leave. And it's the same thing when it comes to even this as well.
Friends and work.
Yeah, friends.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it from a standpoint, it's like, oh, I don't need you, so I'm not going to
Yes.
link up with you. But I think things change, right? What I'm into, things that I'm passionate about, things that we want to talk about, and that trend changes. So I think that's normal in terms of the 5.
Yeah.
But I think what's the constant is always family.
Yes.
I don't think I want to be changing that often.
Yeah. So my second question is, you mentioned a lot about like obviously that flame, that excitement, the things that you want to do. I think this is like an entrepreneur thing, you know. I relate to that so much.
Sure.
I have flame every time I come back from a training, a conference, or a partnership meeting.
Sure.
Yeah, but this is a very common question. But I do want to hear from you in terms of time management. So we know time blocking lah, calendar management lah, priorities. You know, you wake up at 5:30. Tell us how you personally have this set of time management tools or mindset that you run through. Because you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, you said that I want to make sure my time is being used well.
Yeah.
How do you measure that? And how do you go around with that? How do you know what's important so that you use your time, especially from the chief level?
Yeah. I mean, I think first up, this was not something that, you know, I've practiced throughout my entire career. It's something I would say fairly recent, maybe in the last like 6 years or so. And I kind of realized that how I came about it is certain mentors that I had. Even EO itself, it is all about being on time. Yes, no doubt there are times that I still, you know, am late, but I think having that like discipline, right? Like at EO, we all meet, say, for example, at 1 p.m. hard start. If you're like 1 minute late, 2 minutes late, means you're still late. And the way that we look at it is that there are 5 CEOs here or 5 business owners. How much is all our time worth? You know, if all of us are able to respect each other and to, you know, to be there at this specific time, what makes you any different? You know, unless you don't care about us.
Yeah.
So I think that is a kind of
environment.
Yeah, environment, right? Which I've been like,
I feel
shit,
stressful
I can't be
for
late.
that 1 minute. I'm so sorry I was 2 minutes late when I came into this yellow room.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, it kind of happens, all right. But that's the kind of mindset that I think has helped me.
That is the mindset bit, right?
Yeah, and the way that I look at it is I'm a big calendar guy. So I plan my calendar because I think as a CEO, as like, you know, in the management team, a lot of times it's about like you go to work, it can end up like, what did I even get done today? It was just like meetings all day. But it depends, right? Like if my job is to give clarity to the team,
the meetings is needed,
to go and do that, okay, for sure, right? But the mindless meetings, just talking for the sake of talking, like I can't do that anymore. You know, back then I want to like, oh, let's brainstorm, let's do this. Like, dude, like I can't do that. Like, I want to come to a meeting prepared, you know, straight away, and let's speak lah, right?
Yeah.
Yes, there's times that we can probably have those casual chats, but I want action.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's the way, and the team knows that as well. So
just tell me, how do you? I mean, I'm all for calendar. I was just talking to my team. Like my calendar is crazy. I put in what time I brush my teeth and what time I put my skincare. Like I really do it because then I realized if I didn't put that in, I really never do, especially the WhatsApp messages.
Of course.
So I even put in a time where I need to bracket and reply my WhatsApp, because if not, I'm going back to back to back.
Yeah,
and when I go home, I'm going to take out my skincare time to reply WhatsApp. And then a bunch of people are waiting for my reply. It's not fair to them. Then they get to work at like 10 o'clock. It's not fair.
Yeah.
Right. So I realized that.
Structure,
structure. But my question to you is, as the Chief Vision Officer for PMC and also running your Atlas and your family, right? Your wife, your friends, your EO gatherings.
Yeah.
How does a typical work week look like for you? Do you block it into categories? Like, if you don't mind,
No, for sure. I think first up, like I said, you know, everything is on my calendar. Similar to you, I mean, I don't put brushing my teeth, but I put things like, okay, my
Traveling
journaling time.
Yes.
I put things like my lunch time. I even break it down to my meeting time and my time. And even during the weekends as well, I do things like for my own self in terms of like, you know, goals, in terms of financial planning. There are times which, you know, when it comes to it, I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm going to cancel it this week.
I'm like that also.
Yeah, but at least it's there, right?
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of, you know, live my life. But what it kind of looks like is for me, my most productive time and where I can think the best and the clearest is the mornings. So that's when I look at strategy. And that's why it helps that I wake up early and I enjoy it. So it's become a routine. So I wake up early, I will, do my meditation, journaling, whatnot. And then after that, I will do my thinking time. After I do my thinking time, I always for me, I need the balance. I need sport. I need to kind of, so I do sport every day.
Yeah.
Whether it be go to the gym, go for a run, do yoga, whatnot. And then after that, I go to work. I go to work. Work is mostly with the team. But I do have some time which I kind of set, and then also the meetings with other people. I still do some business dev stuff for the bigger partnerships. So I have the client management things that I need to do. So that happens. At night, I always always make sure that, we've got...
The wife.
Yeah, the wife, dinner, right?
Yeah, of course.
Dinner, so we do that together. Go for walks, walk the dog. I've got days that I go see my family as well, like mom and dad, my brother. At night, I try not to do work. I have some meetings because my partner for Atlas is in Dubai. So a lot of those meetings is with Europe. So a lot of that happens at night, 9:30, 10. But I try to maybe do that once or twice maximum a week. The rest of the time is, I'm thank you very much for today. I'm tired. I want to go to bed.
Yeah, my question to you is, were you always like that 15 years?
No.
At what point you figure out the momentum and the structure that worked for you, and how did you get there?
Yeah, I think, like I said, it was hanging out with people. Hanging out with people who were disciplined at the time. And
then you
I got that from sport.
Oh, yeah. You
I got that
mentioned.
from sport. They say at 7 a.m. we are leaving, and 7 a.m. they leave. And I respected these people. I respected what they do, the success that they've achieved. And I was cycling with these people. And it's 7 on the dot. No such thing, 7:02, 7:01. 7 o'clock they leave, right? So I think that was a sort of a shift.
Yeah. So how long have you been planning your time like that? Or this mindset, adapting this mindset? Has it been the beginning
it's
of your
obviously
career?
been
Cultivated more
developed.
and more,
It's been developed over the years, but I think easily, maybe 8 years, 10 years, maybe 8, 10 years or so, maybe.
Yeah. So is there, talking about this time management thing, is there any advice you want to give to any of our listeners that if they're struggling with time management? Do I change my mindset? Do I find my top 5 friends? Where do I start?
Where do you start if you're... I think first up is to actually keep... I think if anything, it's about keeping yourself accountable. I mean, you can have all these people and whatnot to kind of hold you accountable, but I think that first step starts with you. And a way to really understand is actually to plan your week. So you start off or plan your day. So just say in the morning or the night before, you plan what exactly do you need to get done tomorrow. And you review it at the end of the day. Because when you do it that way, you kind of realize, hey, actually, I told myself I'm going to do 5 things, but in the end, I didn't even do any of it, right? And I think it's a lot of times is awareness, which people don't have. Because sometimes a lot of business owners is all about, it just keeps going, right? It's just go. It's work never stops.
Yeah.
So, and that's the hardest bit, is to actually stop and to reflect.
And to think, because the best way to learn is to reflect. And people don't do that enough.
They don't actually stop.
Yeah, because it's just like your car, right? F1 races, they're very fast, right? Why do they stop at pit stop? And if F1 races were designed like that, what about your body?
Yeah.
And you're talking about, multi-structural, your brain, your heart, your body. What I really love that's something that I need to work on, my fitness level, because I really agree fitness gives you so much discipline. I used to have a season in my life where I go to spinning so often, and then I gave birth, and then the momentum dropped. So I want to talk a little bit about momentum as well, because you mentioned a big part is sports, right?
Yeah.
But for those of us that, let's say, we don't have our fitness journey yet. Is there any advice for us to find momentum or start momentum?
I think momentum is all about programming, is all about, it boils down to discipline, it boils down to being repetitive. Yeah. So, and I think a lot of times that is what you need in life. You need stability.
Yep.
Especially as an entrepreneur, I think that's what you want. You don't want curveballs. You just want the same thing over, and that is what trains you, and that is what gets you in the right sort of like state of mind. So I would say it's about planning. It doesn't need to be sport, but it could be planning that program, right? Be it for the week, be it for the day, and having those times in between the week where you're really going to stop and reflect.
Yeah.
And kind of look back at
Yeah.
it.
So I think it's
What's
like
working, what's not.
correct. I think it's just three things. Number one, you have to stop. Right? And then you have to reflect. And last but not least, you have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
You don't do 1-2 times and you're like, it's not for me.
Exactly.
You don't you don't
Keep on going.
Yeah. So I think from that momentum bit, I think my next question is, if you were to give an advice to an aspiring entrepreneur, like probably at the beginning stage, like you remember maybe the first 2-3 years, I'm sure there are a lot, we covered quite a bit.
Sure.
But if there's just one that you gave this person, and if this person actually really follow your advice, it will work or it will change something, what would that be?
Yeah. I would say network.
Really?
I'd say that's a big part of it. Like, I think a lot of opportunities for us have come through the network that we've built. And even for us right now, when we're looking at the future, that is what we're leveraging on. It's leveraging off partnerships. Because in this day and age, yes, you can do it alone, but it's difficult.
Yeah.
And for us, we're at that stage where, how do we... It's not necessary, I mean, obviously we want to grow. We want to constantly, we don't want to be stagnant. We want to constantly be, evolving and doing other things. But we also know that we can't do it alone. So for me, we've been very lucky to have a network of people that really sort of aligns with what we're doing. And that is really going to be the next chapter of us working together to kind of spread whatever that we're working on.
Can you give us a tip? So today, let's say I'm in an event and I'm just a new entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
2 years in the business.
Yeah.
Are there any tips so that I can build my network?
First up. I think first up is make the first move. Let me tell you, my partner Ben, who is my Atlas Collectif partner, I never knew him before. We never got introduced. I reached out to him on LinkedIn because my wife was based in Dubai and I was making trips there. And I was like, if I'm going to be spending time here, I might as well just go and meet people. So, at least, because we were not sure. Thinking at that point of time, we were like, oh, maybe I should move to Dubai. Maybe, let's see what happens. So I was going out while she was going to work. I was like, okay, I should go and just link up with different people. And Ben came on my feed on LinkedIn and I was like, oh, he was in streetwear. He likes fashion. He's in consultancy, agency type work. I was like, I just messaged him. And surprisingly, he replied to me and said, yes, let's do it. Let's meet up. And I told them this is what I do. And a lot of times, sometimes we're like, oh shit, are they going to entertain us or whatnot? But for a lot of times,
just do it.
Yeah, just do it. And people actually will reciprocate.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing when we were also during the early days of Pestle Mortar, where I had a couple of friends who were still in Melbourne working after uni. And there was like this media house that we like looked up to. We buy all their stuff. And again, I just linked up with just like, I'm not sure, I think it was email or something along those lines. They said, hey, we're these guys. Like we just started this brand and we just want to just come and see the office. And Andrew, who is now a very good friend till today, said, he was the guy who said, yeah, guys, just come by. And we went by and from there, he brought me in and gave me like, it's helped us so much along the way in terms of whether it be media coverage, whether it be introductions to retail stores within Australia.
Yeah.
A lot of that.
So good.
So it's about taking that first step.
Yeah.
And
you really remind, sorry.
Yeah. And I always tell, I've got this story as well where Andrew invited me to this conference and it had all the biggest names in streetwear. One of the guys, if you know this brand, Stussy.
Of course.
So it's the guy that started it, Sean Stussy. He was there. And he sold the company, but he's the guy which originally started it. And he was like literally there. And I was like, oh my goodness, oh my God. Like, this is a guy that I look up to, right? But a big part of me as an Asian, perhaps maybe like a little bit timid, a little bit scared. Like, what is he going to think? But I told myself like,
you're not going to get this chance anymore.
Yeah, exactly, right? Seize the moment, carpe diem, like, what do I have to lose?
Yeah.
If he says no,
whatever,
right? So I was just so I went up to him and I was talking to him and it was great. And then after that, we saw each other again in Dubai at another thing. And it's not say we've done something together, but be able to have someone like that within the network, and to be able to share those conversations. I think that means a lot.
Yeah. And like that reminded me just now. My first response was really, and then as you're speaking, I realized that I have been doing that unintentionally. Yeah, I mean network. I've never seen it that way, but like you reminded me actually during my early days, unintentionally, because of my personality. Like I'm just like bakwa and I'm just friendly.
Yeah.
So every time I go, I'm just genuinely curious.
Sure.
Like, and then thinking back when I first started the business, I actually got a lot of support. Unintentionally. Yeah. So I think if I were to look back beyond just networking, I think it's also being very, very intentional with like who you want to get to know so that you're able to do certain partnerships together.
Yeah, you gotta put yourself there, right?
Yeah.
Like things don't just fall in your lap.
Yeah.
It is, I tell the guys as well, like you mentioned like collaborations or partnerships. Like, I mean, we have a list of dream collaborations that we want to do.
Yeah.
Be it with car brands, be it with alcohol brands, be it with whatever. But you don't get that overnight, right? You know there is steps that you need to take, and you have to plan that out.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing like what you're saying. Everything is very intentional.
Yeah.
To get us to where we want to be.
Yeah. I think the final few questions is that is there anything you would tell your younger self?
Younger self.
If you were to really, we have this reel, right? I met my younger self for coffee today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
I've seen that. But I haven't really thought about it.
Let's say Hugh is 18. 18-year-old Hugh. I'll ask a 25-year-old Hugh. I'll ask a 30-year-old Hugh.
I mean, I've asked myself that question of, will I turn back time? Whatever that we've done, would I do it differently? Honestly, no. I think I've always lived my life with no regrets, with whatever. And I'm a firm believer that whatever mistakes and challenges or things that has affected me then has made me into who I am today. Yes, there are certain areas that I probably kind of feel like I would have loved to understand more. For example, I think finance. I learned that a little bit late in the game, but also because I had my brother who was like the CFO of the company. So a lot of that is like, I'm going to take care of the creative, I'm going to take care of the party stuff. He's going to take care of the money and the fundamentals. But I think it's important, like, if I had that mindset, I think that would... A lot of things, maybe I would be like, okay, maybe we shouldn't spend so much money here. Maybe we should do this instead. Yeah. So having that sort of EQ or that IQ for that perspective of like, money, I think I would have liked that. So maybe that.
Yeah. Would you have told 25-year-old Hugh a different thing?
25-year-old Hugh. Maybe don't maybe it would be something along lines of, don't worry too much about what people think, because I think there was the period in time as well where always seeking validation. So but it comes with age, right? After a while you just
don't care.
You don't care.
I agree.
After a while, you're like, hey, you know what? Like,
you talk about me. My bank balance doesn't change, right? My lifestyle doesn't change.
I don't care.
But I have to admit, like, even me, like, there were a period of my time I really, really care about what people talk about me, and I can't sleep, and they just hawk my brain, completely lose sight of what I'm capable of doing.
Sure.
So I think I agree on that. Last question is that... just a piece of advice. I mean, to everybody that's listening to this podcast today, if you're thinking of starting a business, what is that one piece of advice?
One piece of advice. Oh, this is always like the toughest question.
I know, right? Like, it's tough because you have more than one.
One piece of advice. I think something which has always been constant is, starting business is different from like running a business.
This is starting.
Starting. If you're starting a business, I think it's about just starting. I think a lot of times, like what we were saying before, like over planning, overthinking, just get started and make it work. Obviously, there still needs to be a certain amount of foundation before you start, but don't need to overanalyze. Just go out there and just do it.
Now, what about if you're running a business?
Running a business is easy. It's the team. So I think there's only so much that I can get done, and a lot of it is like my time these days is, I would say, and that's the most challenging thing, is taking care of the team, like making sure that they're in the right mindset to be able to do the work that they do, and supporting them, in what they do and supporting their journey, and making sure that I tell the guys that, right, like whatever that this is the vision of the brand. This is where we want to be able to bring the brand. But a lot of times is, what are you going to get from it? And I want you to be able to get something out from it. Yeah.
What is in it for you? Yeah.
Exactly.
I strongly believe in that, because...
And if money is it, then, it's fine. It's fine. It can be money. It can be, learning new things. It can be people that you get to meet.
Network.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hugh, for your time.
Thank you, Adele.
Be sure to check everything Pestle Mortar and also Atlas Collectif, and check out Hugh's personal page, LinkedIn page, Instagram page. Thank you so much for watching Boss Up with Adele Chow podcast, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
See you guys.